6 months. 6! That's how long it's been since you got stolen and pulled into the Vanishing Act. You know, between the monsters and the wild animals and all the bad guys running around, you're starting to become a lot more trouble than you're worth. Oh, sure. Just keep stringing me along. Well, at least Knight'll stop panicking for a minute.
Look, I know it's been a while, Knight, but that's no reason to start panicking.
Look, I am trying very hard not to panic right now in my tired, induced state. But Dubious Con hasn't had a new video out since May. And the last time anybody has tapped in to do a cross reveal with him was Deca Master back in April. Look, I have to think of all of the possibilities of what's going to happen to him in this universe. He could be hurt. He could be in a coma. I don't want to think he's dead.
Okay, stop right there. We don't know anything for sure, and you really need to stop blaming yourself for this. It is not your fault that he's stuck over there.
I know that, but I should have done something. Anything. I got him roped into this thing with the Fukulovic Dictate, and I knew how much he hated this kind of crap. I just wish he told me to maybe put some protection spells over his apartment or wards. Anything that would have prevented this from happening again.
There's no way you could have known what was going to happen to him. I mean, you said even Ampersand was surprised that he vanished like that, right?
Yeah.
So it isn't your fault. You need to stop beating yourself up. Also, when was the last time you got some sleep? You sound exhausted.
Sorta, in a way. I mean, I can't remember what month or day it is. Time has lost all meaning since I did Mirror Mask. It's been on and off with sleeping, honestly. Not to mention that weird Freddy Krueger person has just been haunting my dreams. And that's not getting all the Patreon requests I still have to do. I have so many.
Maybe you should take a couple days off and try and get some rest. I'm sure if he's okay, we'll hear something in a few days.
What was that noise? Jeff? Writrzblok, hey buddy, can you hear me? Jeff! Oh, great, I think it's happened to him.
Knight? You there?
She's panicking again, isn't she?
You're alive! What the hell, man? No videos for 6 months? We were all worried sick about you!
Yeah, sorry. The chest got stolen, I had to break out of prison, sneak through a dragon's cave, battle the forces of Cobra, a bunch of other bullshit. It's been interesting in the old Chinese proverb sense.
Wait, you broke out of prison?
Long story, don't ask. Let's just get this review done so you can get word back to Knight and the others that I'm alive, if not necessarily okay.
Alright, if you say so. Which one are you up to?
One that's right up your alley, Scooby-Doo and WWE Wrestlemania Mystery. It was released on March 25th, 2014, written by Michael Ryan and directed by Brandon Vietti. Now, I don't follow wrestling, so most of what I know is through cultural osmosis.
Which is why I guess I was tapped for this one. Something to keep in mind is that the WWE wrestlers in this movie are voiced by the actual wrestlers themselves, and also that these were some of the big names circa 2014. It's almost been 10 years since this movie came out, which in pro wrestling terms is a very long time, and many of them have retired or moved on to other things. I'll try to keep the minutia to a minimum, but if you're watching this and just barely got into WWE or aren't into wrestling at all, don't be surprised if you don't recognize some of these people.
We open to a dark, stormy night when walking up the road is... Who the hell is this again?
The big red machine known as Kane, also known as Glenn Jacobs, who is, at the time of this video, the mayor of Knoxville, Tennessee.
Wait, seriously?
Seriously, look it up sometime.
After Jesse Ventura, I'll take your word for it. Kane comes upon a billboard with a giant wooden standee of WWE superstar Triple H telling people to stop by WWE City. And by city, we do mean city, as you'll find out later.
But coming up the road and directly into Kane's path is Mike the Miz Mizanin, a well-known douchebag heel or bad guy. How much of a douche is he? He made the word awesome his catchphrase, and it stuck. Miz alludes to Kane disappearing after losing a match, which the latter takes a strong objection to before being reminded of his destination. Dropping Miz on his ass, Kane pulls a Jason Voorhees and vanishes.
While Miz continues to spout his awesomeness, a roar from the forest interrupts him. Thinking it's Kane, Miz decides to taunt the man who just held him off his feet by his jaw.
Hey, I never said the Miz was a smart bad guy.
And it's here we meet our monster for the movie, the Ghost Bear.
That all you got, Yogi?
A Yogi Bear WWE crossover. That doesn't sound too bad, honestly.
Considering that at the same time this movie came out, there were 2 other WWE crossovers with the Flintstones and the Jetsons, I'm surprised there wasn't one.
Anyway, the Ghost Bear deals a little lowbrow humiliation to the Miz.
My face!
Seems like an improvement to me. The Miz climbs to the top of the standee, but the Ghost Bear takes out the right leg of the structure, causing Miz to plummet onto the street below and knocking him out.
Unnecessary roughness.
Damn. Ghost Bear kicked his ass into a completely different sport. Or into an actual sport if you want to get technical about it, and trust me, you don't. From there, we go to the title sequence with lots of explosions.
When we come back from this hard rock fever dream, Scooby and Shaggy are playing a motion-controlled WWE game dressed as the wrestlers they're playing as.
John Cena and Sin Cara.
Am I the only one who keeps thinking of Linkara when I hear Sin Cara's name?
In our circles, probably not. Although a Sin Cara-Linkara mashup cosplay could be fun. Anyway, the boys beat the game on its hardest level, which triggers a bonus game where they have to duplicate Sin Cara's victory dance. Yes, this is in fact relevant to the plot.
Scooby gets a perfect score, which triggers a surprise message from someone even I know. Vince McMahon, the chairman and CEO of WWE.
Well, former chairman and CEO. He retired last July. His daughter Stephanie's running things now. Vince informs them that they've won an all-expense-paid trip to WWE City, along with ringside seats at WrestleMania. All they have to do is bring the game disc as proof of their achievement.
In fact, the rest of the gang don't have any interest in going to WWE City, not being wrestling fans. Fortunately, Shaggy and Scooby have emotional blackmail on their side.
Or when we had to be the cow to catch the crazed cowgirl from beyond the grave. Scooby-Doo almost got milked.
Good night, everybody. The final blow comes with a photo where Scooby is shaved naked to pretend to be a chihuahua. Must have been Fred's idea. I know it's a joke to sell Shaggy's point, but I don't think even Fred, Daphne, or Velma would be that cruel to Scooby.
You clearly haven't seen many of these movies. Anyway, the pictures convince the gang to go on the trip.
Where it's discovered that the boys didn't bother to pack the luggage, which leads to this pretty funny bit.
Like, what's the big deal? We all wear the same outfits every single day anyway.
Yeah, you got to admit it. He does have a point.
Those outfits are going to reek by the time this trip is over. Oh wait, it's WWE. There'll be plenty of merch to replace their clothes.
Fred slams on the brakes and swerves on the road to avoid a raccoon, putting the van into a ditch. Fortunately, a truck followed by a figure in a hoodie happens by to help.
And his name is John Cena!
No, he's already enough of a meme in this movie as it is. The pair in the truck are Cookie, voiced by Charles S. Dutton, and his nephew Reuben, voiced by Bumper Robinson. While Shaggy and Scooby fanboy their hearts out, Cookie warns Cena about how unsafe it's been out in the woods, which is why he and Reuben follow along on their evening jogs.
Cena ignores Cookie's protests and proceeds to lift the Mystery Machine out of the ditch with his bare goddamn hands.
See? Already his meme version.
Yeah, that's true. This was the era where he was basically WWE Superman, or a modern-era Hulk Hogan minus the racism. Cena would face a challenger or challengers and occasionally only lose to cheating or other chicanery, very rarely ever losing clean. It killed the momentum and possibly the careers of many an up-and-coming star, and caused a backlash on both John Cena the character and the man himself for a long time. It got better around the latter part of his career, but some of the challenges and obstacles he overcame bordered on, well, the cartoonish in order to make Cena look like a conquering hero. And it's not just Cena in this film. Many of the WWE wrestlers' abilities in this movie are amped up to nigh superhuman levels, as shown with Miz's knee breaking the pavement without injury earlier.
Scooby sees the raccoon snag some snacks and gives chase into the woods, while the gang, and inexplicably Cena, run after him. Scooby trips down a hill into some branches, a spider web, mud, and debris to fake scare Shaggy once he's found. Their reunion is interrupted by a rifle shot by Bayard, a local woodsman, or hunter, or huntsman? Whatever. And apparently a friend of the raccoon. Cookie talks Bayard into not shooting the boy and his dog as they're fans coming to visit WWE City.
They all come for that. And the more they come, the hungrier they make the beast.
No, he's not referring to Brock Lesnar, he's referring to WWE City. As more and more visitors come, WWE City takes up more and more land. He makes an ominous-sounding warning before firing his rifle again to make everyone leave. Back at the road, to make up for nearly being shot, Cena offers Scooby and Shaggy VIP tickets for the upcoming wrestling show that night, which they accept happily.
From there, we go to WWE City itself, where WWE has apparently bought itself an entire town, with restaurants, hotels, and references aplenty. It's cheesy, but kind of fun in that slightly sketchy theme park kind of way.
We see Brodus Clay taking on whom I assume to be fellow WWE superstar Christian, Santino Marella performing his Cobra finisher on a random jobber, Triple H posing, AJ Lee performing a backflipping blockbuster onto another jobber, and finally John Cena teaming up with Sin Cara to face The Big Show and Alberto Del Rio, whom have non-speaking roles. WWE commentator Michael Cole calls the match as Cena gets double-teamed by the heels, and Sin Cara slingshots himself to the other side of the ring to powerbomb Del Rio into the concrete floor. Cena then flings Big Show into the announce table and seemingly through the floor. Del Rio gets hit with a sidewalk slam.
It sounds like you're speaking English, but I'm not sure.
Whoops, sorry, I'll try to take it down a notch.
Big Show's back with a picnic table? Where did he get a picnic table?
I don't know, Cole. From the many picnic areas around the arena? Like he had it stashed away somewhere? I have no idea. Big Show hits Cena with the table, which, as Velma dutifully points out, would normally cause a disqualification. But as Fred points out that it's all a show, Sin Cara performs a tilt-a-whirl Fujiwara armbar takedown, not a head scissors, as Cole states.
This is taking it down a notch?
Fred tries to take pictures of Cena's signature five-knuckle shuffle, no really, he calls it that, before Daphne throws up pom-poms to be Cena's cheerleader. Speaking of, Cena hits his finisher, the Attitude Adjustment, on Big Show to gain the pinfall and the win. Michael Cole calling the victory for Cena in the ruins of the announce table is pretty funny. Vince McMahon's theme music plays, and out comes the man himself to present the WWE Championship belt, not to be confused with the WWE Universal title.
The championship belt represents honor, respect, hard work, dedication.
Whether Vince likes you enough to push you as a main eventer.
Anyway, Vince explains that Kane's championship match was overturned, leaving the championship vacant.
I can't really comment on how accurate this is because we don't know whether Kane was trying to win or retain the belt. But then again, it's WWE. Making sense takes a backseat, or in most cases, dangles off the rear bumper by its fingernails.
McMahon states that the belt will remain in a passcode-secured box until a winner is declared in the currently unannounced main event at WrestleMania. Meanwhile, Fred and Daphne's on-again, off-again romance rears its head once again.
When did you give Cena your phone number?
Oh, when I gave him my email, my home address, and my scarf size.
Cookie invites the gang to the WWE training camp, much to Shaggy and Scooby's delight. They make it to, as Cookie calls it, WWE's Rock Yard, where we see various wrestlers exercising and training.
It's basically the WWE Performance Center, just not set in Orlando. Shaggy and Scooby recognize / name drop Sergeant Slaughter, Jerry the King Lawler, and Mouth of the South Jimmy Hart as they ride by, along with the 24-hour restaurant, which basically makes this paradise for the duo. WWE even carved the WWE Championship belt into the side of a mountain. If that's not confirming Vince's opulence and narcissism, I don't know what does. Fred asks Sin Cara to pull over, and we see the old SmackDown stage setup, apparently. Ruben and Triple H spar in the ring while Santino, AJ, and Brodus Clay watch along the ring apron. Oh god, I tore my quads again!
Ruben's aptitude impresses the established superstars, but Cookie is not as encouraging. Settling into their cabins for the night, Daphne laments only having 2 green scarves and asking Velma which one John Cena would like more.
The one on the right.
Never change, Velma. Never change. The two overhear Cookie arguing with Ruben about the latter wanting to become a WWE superstar. Cookie wants his nephew to get into computer science instead of wrestling, showing he has a leg brace, implying that an injury forced Cookie into early retirement. Though considering how tough WWE wrestlers appear in this movie, it probably means Cookie got hit in the knee with tank artillery. Velma then Velmsplains the concept of the babyface, or face hero, to Daphne as well as the audience.
Has it ever occurred to you that maybe WWE isn't something you can scientifically explain? Don't be silly, Daphne. Science and logic explain everything.
On second thought, that particular character trait is really going to come back to bite in later movies.
Meanwhile, in the boys' cabin, Shaggy and Scooby take the beds while Fred takes the couch. Shaggy plays a WWE video game while Fred and Scooby go to sleep, which leads to a dream of Scooby wrestling various anthropomorphic foods. Scooby wakes up when Shaggy lets him know that not only has Scooby been sleepwalking, he is biting the ghost bear, causing the first chase of the movie.
The chase comedically crashes through Miz's cabin where he is recovering from his injuries. Cena, Sin Cara, Brodus Clay, and Triple H then attempt to fight the monster, but the ghost bear proves to be too much for even their combined might. More wrestlers arrive to help, but the monster lifts up Sin Cara's convertible and throws it at a water tower, causing an explosion and vanishing in the chaos. Aw man, and he just finished paying it off too.
Fred, Velma, and Daphne show up to find out what's going on. Cookie says it's the return of a vicious legend from beyond the grave, which means Mystery Inc. is officially on the case. Apropos of nothing, Kane looks on menacingly from the woods.
He's just standing there, menacingly!
The next day, the gang meets up with Miss Richards, voiced by Mary McCormick. She reveals that the Ghost Bear has been a constant threat to WWE City, smashing up a kitchen and the video game studio. Cookie continues scaring Shaggy and Scooby with talks of the Ghost Bear when Vince walks in to be, and I can't believe I'm saying this, the voice of reason.
Let's try to remain calm here. We don't want to jump to any crazy conclusions.
I'll be right back. I have to wash my mouth out with battery acid.
After enduring Shaggy and Scooby's fangasming, Vince, having researched Mystery Inc., asks for the gang's help. His main concern is the WWE Championship belt, not only because it's gold and jewel encrusted, but because WrestleMania wouldn't be the same without it.
Now that I can agree with him on.
How is the battery acid?
Tingly.
Ms. Richards insists they don't need these kids meddling in security matters. She points out that the belt is secured in the lockbox and guarded by laser tripwire alarms. Vince is adamant on Mystery Inc. helping out. Speaking of helping out, John Cena offers to tag along with Daphne's enthusiastic approval.
Cena then takes the group to talk to Sin Cara, who is standing on the roof of WWE City's headquarters overlooking the sunset. I say talk, but Sin Cara has no speaking lines despite being one of the more prominent characters in the story, and despite the performer, Jose Rodriguez, being born and raised in El Paso, Texas. The reason for this is for exposition and mainly for this gag.
But does he even talk?
He doesn't have to. Luckily, I speak masked luchador.
Before you ask, no, that's not a language even in kayfabe or pretend. It'd make more sense if Sin Cara explained it in Spanish with Cena translating, but again, performer likely knows English, having grown up in Texas, it's a gag, and not a particularly good one.
In a nutshell, 100 years ago, a bear named Vicious was part of a traveling show, and it remained undefeated until it met Sin Cara Grande, Sin Cara's great-great-great-grandfather.
And before you ask, no, I have never heard of him, and he doesn't exist on any wrestling roster I know of. As far as I know, he was made up for the movie.
Right. With the match happening in the town that would become WWE City, an epic battle ensued. Sin Cara Grande eventually wound up getting the victory. The Bear, apparently being a sore loser, decided to run amok and tried to destroy the town. In stepped Sin Cara Grande to help stop the Beast's rampage, and in doing so, the luchador's leg was severely injured by the Bear, ending his career while the Bear itself escaped through the woods into the cave north of the town. Sin Cara believes the spirit of the Bear was stirred by WrestleMania itself. He pledges to protect WWE City in honor of his ancestor, and this is the dumbest thing I've heard yet in one of these movies.
Quick question, when did WWE City become established? Has it always been around in this continuity? If so, wouldn't the other 30-plus WrestleManias have stirred the Ghost Bear as well? And if Sin Cara's ancestor was the one to defeat the Bear, shouldn't it be going after him instead of WWE as a whole?
It's Scooby-Doo, Jeff. There is no continuity. Later that night, Fred decides to go out and patrol with the guards to possibly catch the Ghost Bear. He then locks the door to keep Scooby from sleepwalking out of the cabin again. Later, Scooby is woken up by strange lights that flicker in a specific pattern that winds up having a strange effect on him.
The next day, Shaggy and Scooby wake up to Ms. Richards banging on their cabin door, accusing Scooby of stealing the belt. They deny it, but Scooby drops the covers, revealing the title around his waist? Do dogs have waists? In any event, while the gang insists on Scooby's innocence, Ms. Richards pulls up video footage of the Great Dane avoiding the laser tripwires using a very specific and familiar dance. Velma notices something.
Hold on a second. Is there something strange about Scooby? You really want us to answer that?
You're right. He was doing the Macarena when the electric slide better suits his bone structure.
While security drags Scooby away, Velma has an idea and puts a plan into action. Later, all the principal characters are ringside at the WWE arena, while Velma uses the Titantron big screen to show the movements Scooby used to avoid the lasers match up perfectly with the victory dance from the WWE video game. Scooby was given a post-hypnotic suggestion to perform the dance whenever a sequence of lights were activated.
Despite the compelling evidence, Ms. Richards still wants to throw Scooby in jail and throw in Shaggy as an accomplice since he purchased the video game. Oh, lady, trust me, you don't want to open up that can of worms. Asking if there's any way to avoid a prison sentence, Vince basically says Scooby and Shaggy have the chance to win their freedom via trial by combat, or in this case, win their freedom in a wrestling match.
I take it back. That is the dumbest thing I've heard yet in one of these movies.
Naturally, the boys are terrified at this proposal, especially since the only available wrestler to pit them against is Kane. He accepts, and Velma accepts on Shaggy and Scooby's behalf. Vince declares that unless they can prove Scooby and now Shaggy's innocence, their match with Kane will open WrestleMania tomorrow night. While outside, Velma tells a panicking Shaggy that they need to buy the gang time to solve the mystery. Fred is his usual helpful self.
I don't know, Velma. We only have until tomorrow before Shaggy and Scooby get slaughtered.
Hello? Thanks, Fred.
Shaggy and Scooby beg Cookie to train them, and he reluctantly agrees, bringing in AJ Lee, who gives them a comedic training montage set to her theme music Light It Up. It goes about as well as you'd expect, with a scrawny young man and his dog whose main exercise is running for their lives. After the montage, Ruben laments about his uncle training the duo when he won't train his own nephew. Ruben's always dreamed of being a WWE superstar and offers to show Daphne his costume gimmick, the Bone Bender.
I got an outfit I made out of spandex and bones. Real bones. I ordered off the internet. You want to see?
Run, Daphne. Run far. Run fast.
Shaggy and Scooby hide from AJ while Fred and Velma arrive with maps of the entire area and places to look for clues about the Ghost Bear. The two enthusiastically accept to go off with the gang.
AJ's like Kane with lipstick.
Well, she did wear Kane's mask at one time, and they did have a romantic storyline at one point, but that's not important. Anyway, night falls and the gang is in the woods, Velma knowing that Scooby's case is somehow connected to the Ghost Bear. Watching from a cliffside, Bayard, rational, reasonable man of sound mind that he is, shoots a pile of rocks to cause a rock slide, forcing the gang to run into another ravine where the rocks roll off and smash into the far side, causing a giant boulder to fall and chase the group to a drop-off. When who should show up but John Cena? And no, it's not the meme, his music actually kicks in when he shows up. He manages to shove the boulder off the side. And how did he find them so quickly?
Daphne texted me.
Naturally.
The group finds Bear Cave and enter inside, where they find what they assume to be the skeleton of the original Vicious the Bear. Through a crevice, the gang finds a workshop. Fred starts taking pictures of everything, while Daphne finds books on hypnotism and subliminal messaging, which could prove Scooby's innocence. Cena finds an even bigger clue, schematics for an EMP, and Velma finds a calendar with the date for WrestleMania circled and the words RIP WWE written on it. The Ghost Bear attacks and cheap shots Cena into a cave wall, hitting a gas tank and a table and knocking him unconscious. Fred tries to distract it with his camera while the gang runs, leaving Cena on the floor of the workshop as the monster gives chase. They do the usual doors and hallways Scooby shtick this time with tunnels. After a long, complicated sequence, they run back into the workshop where Cena is still unconscious and now snoring. Fred uses the table to ignite a gas can to hit the Ghost Bear, but the monster deflects it, causing the water from the river to break through and fill Bear Cave. The tide washes away the Ghost Bear, the gang, and, unfortunately, the evidence. Shaggy and Scooby surface, riding a still unconscious Cena like a surfboard.
We gotta get the evidence!
Don't worry, Shaggy. I still have the photos.
Cue Fred losing the camera in 3, 2, 1... Oh, look at that. They all Temple of Doom style fly out of a waterfall towards a pond below. In mid-fall, Cena wakes up. You'd figure the near drowning would have done the trick, but whatever, gag with Cena's surfboard. And somehow hurls the Ghost Bear to a cliffside to the adulation of Scooby, Shaggy, and Daphne. After washing up on shore, the gang finds the way out, realizing that the cave exits into the storm drains underneath WWE City, giving the Ghost Bear full access to the whole town. The next morning, the gang tell Miss Richards what they found, with cookies suggesting that WrestleMania be cancelled.
We can't cancel WrestleMania. That's like canceling Christmas.
It's true. If WWE wouldn't cancel WrestleMania for a worldwide plague, a little thing like sabotage and attempted murder isn't going to make them bat an eye.
Velma further deduces that in the ensuing panic, lots of people could get hurt, thereby ruining WWE. Richards is unswayed and says the show must go on. Fred then decides to turn WrestleMania into a trap.
Ask anyone who's gone to a WrestleMania and they'll tell you how true that statement can be, especially if you don't leave early enough before the buses shut down.
Fred completes his arc of not hating Cena, and the plan is underway. It's the night of WrestleMania, and a big thunderstorm hangs over the arena, and Bayard looks pissed that it's a sold-out show. The ring announcer announces the opening match, Kane versus Skinny Man Shaggy and Dead Meat Scooby. In the locker room, the boys get ready for their match in their usual way.
Because there's no mystery as to where we're going.
To the hospital?
No, the morgue.
Cookie shows up to give the boys one last pep talk, until Kane shows up to put the fear of God back into Scooby and Shaggy. The pyro goes off, the fans go wild, and viewers at home settle to watch. Fun fact, the 4 young women watching WrestleMania are Young Justice members Wonder Girl, Artemis, Zatanna, and Miss Martian, respectively. Director Brandon Vietti created the Young Justice animated series alongside Greg Weisman. In any case, everyone checks to see if they're in position, as WrestleMania begins with Vince McMahon having security bring out the WWE Championship belt back in the lockbox. Seeing the belt, Velma then figures out where the EMP device is. The first match gets underway, Scooby and Shaggy vs. Kane. Michael Cole then announces that their match is under last man standing rules, meaning that if you can't rise to your feet before the count of 10, you lose. Kane backhands the ref into the nosebleeds, and this has basically become a free-for-all. While that goes on, Velma tells Miss Richards that the belt is the EMP, but the latter isn't buying it.
If only I had a magnet to prove it.
Yes, tights, the perfect place to put a magnet. I'd wash that before touching it, Velma. She then uses the magnet, proving the belt in the lockbox is made of iron and not gold. Back in the ring, Kane chokeslams Shaggy and Scooby so hard they bounce right out of the ring where the latter two try to hide. Kane gives chase and the fight continues, causing a mini dust storm. As the dust clears, Michael Cole's announce desk is destroyed once more in the fracas.
Somebody get me another desk out here, please.
Nowadays, the commentary tables are collapsible, built to break and easy to set right back up. It diminishes the impact of table spots, but at least the commentators can still do their jobs. For better and worse.
Taking out the belt, Velma sees that there's only 30 seconds left on the EMP, leaving not enough time to get it out of the arena and the arena generator right below the ringside area. Cena has the idea to give Shaggy the belt, pulling back on the ropes and telling Shaggy to let go, catapulting it out of the arena. Scooby goofs it up, trying to avoid Kane. The EMP goes off, shutting down the generator, causing a blackout. And to make matters worse, in comes the Ghost Bear, rampaging through the museum cases and causing a panic with an already agitated crowd. Fred puts Plan B into motion.
He lights a flare, giving a signal for AJ, Brodus, Santino, and Miz to light similar flares, which will then reach King Theoden and Rohan. No, actually, the flares are meant to set off green phosphorus flares to light up the arena, calming the crowd. Shaggy gives Scooby a pep talk, calling back to the victory dance to help him against Kane. Meanwhile, the Ghost Bear continues running amok backstage, making it out to the arena with the match and WrestleMania still technically going on. Daphne spots the Ghost Bear just like Fred planned. The flares start to dim, but Fred's got Triple H on backup generator duty. Using massive generators on the backs of semis, Triple H pulls a lever, bringing power back to the arena and WrestleMania back on the air.
Fred then enacts Plan C, using the blast doors to trap the Ghost Bear in the hallway, where Ruben engages it in a fight. Their struggle spills out into the ringside area. Fred activates a catapult which hurls both Ruben and the monster into the ring, the latter landing on top of Kane. Fred brings down the steel cage while Sin Cara and Cena enter the ring to help out. Sin Cara distracts the bear with his luchador moves long enough for Cena to slam the bear to the mat before going in for the pin.
Anyone else notice Kane hasn't moved since being hit with the monster for at least a minute in real time, which presents its own logical fallacies and inconsistencies that... But if I go on, we'd be here until the death of the universe.
Thank you. The Ghost Bear attacks, knocking out Cena and Sin Cara. Scooby revives Kane, who faces off against the Ghost Bear. While the wrestlers hold the monster down, Scooby goes to the top rope and hits a flipping splash, or belly bomb as Michael Cole calls it, knocking the Ghost Bear out, collapsing the ring, and gaining the victory. Which means it's time for the reveal.
Cookie? Cookie? Cookie?
I imagine the audience is super confused at this point.
Hey, what's going on? Why is everyone so quiet all of a sudden?
Shut up, she's explaining the plot!
Cookie, like Ruben, had dreams of becoming a WWE champion, but a devastating leg injury ended Cookie's career and he was stuck as a trainer, causing him to resent WWE, and over the years grew to hate the company, despite it apparently giving him the money and resources to build himself a giant mechanical battlesuit. He also wanted to steal the championship belt but needed a pawn, so he hacked into the developing video game, planning post-hypnotic suggestions into it and set up a contest using fake emails sent by WWE. He then used the Ghost Bear suit to cover his tracks by ransacking the video game studio. Supposedly, this would ensure only someone who mastered the victory dance would be able to win the contest and be invited to WWE City. From there, Cookie used flashing lights to activate Scooby's post-hypnotic programming to steal the belt, switching it with the EMP that Scooby was caught with. With Scooby as the fall dog, Cookie set about his plan to black out WrestleMania, and using the Ghost Bear suit, cause a riot that would hurt a lot of people and irreparably damage WWE's reputation. This is, again, one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. So where's the real belt? He's wearing it.
But the championship belt isn't for cheaters, it's for champions.
Something funny?
Do you have any idea how many heels have won a WWE Championship and retained the belt through cheating? It is not a small number, I can assure you.
Thelma also explains that Cookie would have used the golden jewels to live the rest of his life comfortably. The crowd boos, Cookie blames the meddling kids, and Ruben is accepted into the WWE ranks. Vince, then for extra schmaltz, awards both Shaggy and Scooby the WWE Championship belt as co-champions to the admiration of the cheering crowd. And hey, Kane turns out to be not such a bad guy after all.
Huh? Well done.
Alright, that pretty much wraps this one up. Thoughts?
WrestleMania Mystery isn't a terrible movie, but it is dumb. The plot is there just to showcase the novelty of the crossover itself, and the two elements don't mix particularly well together. The wrestlers play mostly exaggerations of their already exaggerated characters. If anyone is underplaying their role, it's Michael Cole, though it could be because he's used to having an actual crowd behind him while he calls matches, so he has to speak up. Another problem is that, as an introduction to the current WWE product, it's kind of outdated. Most of the roster cast have either retired, left the company, or only appear occasionally. For example, Brodus Clay, Santino, and AJ Lee would leave the company not too long after the film was released. Triple H would significantly reduce his on-screen role over the years. Kane, as I mentioned earlier, would become the mayor of Knoxville. John Cena has a booming movie, commercial, and voice acting career, and like I said earlier, Vince McMahon retired from WWE in July of 2022. The Miz is the only one still around on a consistent basis. If you were a fan of WWE around 2014, You'll probably wonder why they couldn't get anyone else a bit higher up on the roster. As far as the Scooby-Doo cast goes, they all give pretty good performances, which isn't a shock. They could do these roles pretty much in their sleep and still be fun to listen to. There are a few nice gags here and there, and while it isn't as bad as some Scooby-Doo movies I could mention, it's not much more than an extended episode of the classic hour-long Scooby-Doo crossover series.
As a non-wrestling fan, I found this one really hard to get into. The plot is weighted way too heavily on the WWE side of things, making it extremely impenetrable. I only knew a handful of the WWE stars, but almost nothing beyond that, so anything involving them I didn't really care about. And with Cookie's motivations tied so closely to his WWE career, I can't say I really cared much about the reveal either. Which isn't to say the movie's bad, it's just hard to get into if you're not already a wrestling fan. I will give props to the WWE cast for their voice acting, however. It can be really hard to voice act if you haven't done it before, and aside from a couple of places where you can tell a couple of the wrestlers are reading from a script, most of them sound pretty natural. Probably helps that their personas are pretty cartoonish to begin with. If you're a fan of WWE from this time frame or just wrestling in general, you'll probably enjoy this movie. Otherwise, well, you can probably skip it and it won't be a big deal. And with that, it's time to pin down another of the 30-plus films of Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo!
Hey, Jeff?
Yeah, Con?
Tell Knight I don't blame her for this, okay? And try to get her to stop trying to rush things, will you?
Will do. Hang in there, buddy.
Oh, wow. Deku's guts were right. That was worse than a 3-day bender. Oh, man.
Ew. Oh, finally there's a visual! This took a while. I wonder if there was magic interference, huh? Anyway, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. And so is Khan. He just ran into a few snags on the way.
What do you mean, snags?
He didn't offer any details, and we were too busy to ask. Something about dragons and a prison break?
Huh. That's an interesting D&D session. Oh, in reality. You know what we could do to fix this, though? Take your portal gun. We open portals. Portal time. We could do that. Maybe?
Knight, stop it.
No, I'm not listening. He's been over there for far too long now. I just can't really sit by him.
That is exactly what he wants you to do.
What?
Look, Khan doesn't blame you for this, okay? He just wants you to stop trying to rush things. Right now, we know he's still trying to make his way back. There aren't that many movies left, and you're practically dead on your feet. So, what he wants you to do is to stop worrying about him and start focusing on yourself.
He really told you that?
Yeah, he did tell me that. Knight, he'll get back when he gets back. But if you try and do anything more to the spell, who knows what could happen.
I suppose you're right. I'm just so tired of waiting.
I get it. We all want him back.
Yeah. Thanks, Jeff.
Anytime. Now get some rest, will ya?
I'll try. Keyword, try. You know how hard it's been in that department lately.
Could be worse. Who knows where Khan's had to go to try and find a place to sleep over there.
Well, that's not ominous at all.
Here come those meddling kids to join the chase. No creep can keep them away. Don't try to stop them. When monsters all disappear without a trace, the kids find the clues right away.
not